Did you know that one of Egypt's most famous pharaohs died in a very mysterious way? And when I tell you about it, I bet it will become your favorite. Amenhotep IV was the fourth king of the 18th dynasty and ruled over Egypt from 1353 to 1336 BC. He is better known as the heretic king who changed his religion, his name and even his appearance. He was once the most powerful ruler in the world, but his untimely death plunged Egypt into chaos, and his legacy has been shrouded in mystery ever since. So what exactly happened to him and how did he die? That is what we are going to find out today. So watch this video till the end to find out more. Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the craziest and weirdest facts from human history. Some of the things discussed in this video may be offensive or disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Before we begin, be sure to hit that like button for more great videos. Also, stick around until the end to learn about one of the most important archaeological finds in recent times. You won't want to miss this. Who was Amenhotep IV? Amenhotep IV, the son of Thutmose III and his great royal wife, Queen T, was born in Thebes in 1361 BC. He succeeded his father to the throne at the age of 9. His initial years were marked by religious conservatism and the maintenance of the status quo. However, during his 17th year, everything changed. His advisors had carefully prepared him for his role as pharaoh. And according to some accounts, the young monarch's personality started to change during his coming-of-age celebrations. The god Amen, who was the supreme deity of the Egyptian pantheon, was also his patron deity. In fact, Amenhotep's name means Amen is powerful. But as he grew older, he became obsessed with the sun god Aten, whose worship was just a minor part of Egyptian religion at the time. He began worshipping the Aten and building new temples in its honor, which enraged the priests of Amen, who had enormous power and influence. He built a new capital city called Akhetaten and moved the empire's center there. Even though there is still debate over whether the ancient city's name was pronounced Ava or Amarna, one thing is for certain, it wasn't the same as today's Amarna. The Egyptians didn't pronounce the letter like we do now, so they would have pronounced it Amarna instead of Amarna. During his reign, the Aten was seen as a symbol of the sun disk. It was considered an abstract idea rather than a physical object. However, after Amenhotep came into power, it became a tangible being similar to other deities. He made the Aten his sole god and denounced all other gods, including Ra, Horus and Ptah. He even changed his name to reflect his new faith. Instead of Amenhotep, he was now known as Amenhotep Aten, which translates to Amun is truth. He then went on to destroy any statues of the old gods and forbade anyone from worshipping them. He also defaced old monuments by chiseling away the names of the gods. This resulted in the priests of Amen losing their jobs and having to sell their property at low prices. The pharaoh also issued orders to end animal sacrifice, which was a common practice in ancient Egypt. These actions caused resentment among many Egyptians. However, these measures only partially worked because the Egyptians had no intention of giving up their gods. Amenhotep's radical views on religion were the main cause of the unrest. How did he die? Everything in Egypt revolved around the pharaoh, who was considered a god on earth. As a result, the circumstances surrounding his death were kept secret, and false narratives were spread. The true story of his death was discovered through his wife's diary, which was found in Tel el-Marna. Her diary contains 38 wooden tablets inscribed with the events of each day during her husband's last illness. It turns out that the pharaoh was very ill for 18 months before he died. According to historical records, he was suffering from chest pains, fever, fatigue, and difficulty breathing. His condition deteriorated rapidly, which prompted his wife to summon royal physicians from across Egypt. They administered medication and performed a variety of medical procedures, but nothing seemed to work. At first, the doctors thought he had a rare tropical disease, but later changed their diagnosis to tuberculosis. When this didn't work, they switched to treating his wounds with leeches and recommended a hot climate to alleviate his symptoms. This theory was based on the observation that cold climates aggravated the symptoms of the disease. Thus, the pharaoh decided to move to the royal villa in the hot region of the eastern desert. Unfortunately, the move didn't help and his health continued to deteriorate. He grew weaker, lost his appetite, and eventually his mind. On his deathbed, he expressed regret for changing the religion and moving the empire's center to Amarna. He begged his wife to take him back to Thebes, promising to restore the old religion and rebuild the temples. But unfortunately, he never made it there. He died in the arms of his beloved wife on the third day of the month of Kal, corresponding to February 12, 1336 BC. He was only 35 years old. To hide the truth about his death, his servants put poison in the food of his successor, Smenkhar, who was only 6 years old at the time. The poison killed the child and the throne passed to Tutankhamun, who was only 9 years old. After Tutankhamun came into power, he restored the old religion, moved the empire's center back to Thebes, and rebuilt the destroyed temples. This led people to believe that Amenhotep had been murdered by his own wife. However, investigations revealed that she had no involvement in the deaths of either her husband or her son. The investigation also revealed that the real reason behind Amenhotep's death was his decision to shift the empire's focus from Thebes to Amarna. The journey to Amarna was long and difficult. At the time, there were no roads and all transportation had to be done on foot. Furthermore, they had to carry supplies with them for the entire trip, which took several weeks. This decision proved to be disastrous because the land around Amarna was not suitable for growing crops and there was no fertile land for miles. As a result, the supplies they carried with them quickly ran out. Eventually, people began to starve and some even resorted to eating their pets. Others were forced to leave the city in search of food. Many of those who left the city never returned. Those who did return were too weak to dig the graves of the dead and bury them. As a result, the bodies were dumped in shallow pits. The lack of proper burial rituals enraged the gods, and they sent terrible diseases such as the plague to punish the Egyptians. Many people died and those who survived were severely weakened. It is possible that Amenhotep contracted the disease during this time, which eventually led to his death. Even though he lived an extravagant lifestyle and had access to the best food and drink, his body was already weak from the disease, which made it difficult for it to cope with the stress of the journey. How did Egyptologists discover the truth? In 1950, Egyptologist Dr. Ahmed Zaki discovered a cache of clay tablets while excavating at Amarna. The tablets contained medical prescriptions written by physicians who treated Amenhotep in his final days. One of the treatments mentioned was leech therapy, which involves attaching leeches to the body to draw out blood. However, this therapy was not effective and the pharaoh's condition continued to deteriorate. The discovery of the medical prescriptions provided the first clue to unraveling the mystery of Amenhotep's death. Other discoveries included the diary of his wife, which provided a detailed account of his final illness, as well as the skeletons of the pharaoh and his son, which showed no signs of poisoning. This evidence suggests that Amenhotep died a slow and painful death from an unknown disease, not murder. The discovery of these artifacts revolutionized our understanding of ancient Egypt and helped us gain insight into the lives of its pharaohs. It also dispelled rumors that Nefertiti poisoned her husband and son and fled to Amarna. Now we know that she played no part in the tragedy and that her husband's death was simply due to a deadly disease. Thanks for watching. What do you think of this mysterious death? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more amazing videos. See you next time.